Kings talk, and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Drape's in Vegas, getting ready for the Kings and the Jazz tonight. And he's got a special guest for us, Kyle Draper. What's going on?
What's up, guys? I got my boy Steve Bulpett, heavy on sports. You can follow him on social media. Longtime writer for the Celtics, the NBA, and close friend of mine. You know, we used to work together covering the Celtics back in the day. Steve, thanks for jumping on, man.
Well, you asked, so I mean, you didn't want me on. You shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, you hear that, fellas? I want you to just record that, Jay. Clip that. He said, "I asked." So when Drapes ask, things get done.
Wow.
That's Steve. You've been covering Summer League for a while.
Yeah.
Tell me about just the changes you're seeing out here, the vibe, the interactions. How has Summer League grown?
Oh my God. The first one was 2004 out here. Supposed to be in Boston. This was his dream. And last minute, he had to pull it together because Boston, the Democratic Convention was going to be there. They could have done it, but they just didn't want to do it in Boston. Anyway, so he does it out here, and it was like, first year, it was a handful of teams. It was totally mom and pop. It was wild, but it's not like it is today. It's grown today, nowadays, to be this huge production. With the way they move people around, this is a really, really large undertaking.
Yeah.
But it was Warren Legary's dream, the agent, and I'm really proud of him, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, you see him around here, like he's
first year he's out there, making sure teams had enough towels. It was
right.
But again, happy for him that it's turned into this year, and it's become a real big showcase for basketball.
We're having a little bit of in and out
here.
Yeah.
That you'd also have guys wanting to come out here and train on the side and things like that. It would be an extra benefit for teams, and he was right.
And he was right. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Steve Bulpett, our guest here from Heavy.com, covered the Celtics for more than 30 years for the Boston Herald. Steve, we're still excited here in Sacramento about the DeRozan deal. What do you think of the fit for Sacramento? How much better he potentially could make them?
Well, I think the big thing is, number one, he's a really good basketball player, which seeing how the Kings are a basketball team would seem to be a good thing. But secondly, he gives you some of that veteran presence that I think really, if you look at some of the teams in the league that are really young and really talented, they have struggles. But having a guy like DeRozan, who's that solid, is the kind of thing that can elevate a team during a playoff series. Regular season, hey, guys, get out there, run, jump, play hard, and wins will happen if you got enough talent. In the playoffs, it becomes a lot more, when it becomes a possession for possession game, you have guys that are just plain solid, in addition to their talent. So I think it's a huge pickup for the Kings.
Steve, one of the things that, we've been talking about here is, all right, the DeRozan signing is great, but fans want more. We're like, all right, what else? Go out there and get somebody else. You covered the Celtics. You've been covering the Celtics. You've seen championship teams. It's not, you can't pop this in the microwave, hit 2 minutes, and then come out with a meal. It takes time. Can you speak to that? And especially when you look at the Celtics who, kept tinkering, switching, the Kyrie era, the Kemba era, they finally got it right. It takes time, man.
Well, there's that. And also fans seem to want, go out and get me names, go out and get me stars. And if you look at what was critical for the Celtics this year, guys like Derek White, guys like Drew Holiday, who I can't believe anyone ever let him go. But I mean, it's guys like that fit. It's not just going after stars; it's knowing what guys are going to be the right fit for your team. So I would say, you want to add to the club. Fans want to see that happen, but the guy that or the guys that might really drive a team like Sacramento over the top could be a guy that you think, well, what's the big deal about him? But he's the perfect guy to fit with what you have. I mean, get the Kings another solid rebounder defender guy. What happens with that team, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you get someone to complement the talent, you know, the skilled type or more skilled type players, that's what you need. Derek White is like worth his weight in gold now, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Steve Bulpett with us from heavy.com. You've covered the NBA a long time, as Drapes detailed for us, as we know. Could you speak to how Sacramento's reputation as an organization has changed, presumably has improved over the last several years?
I remember the first time Sacramento's first year in the league. Okay, and I'm sorry to digress a little bit and tell us this story, but so the big deal about going into there, the old where they built like the shell of a warehouse. You know, the whole thing was like a land swindle type deal because what's his name, Greg Lukenbill, right? He'd owned land north and the south in the fight. The south had gotten zoned for business and not the north that he owned. Anyway, but the big deal going in there was it was one of the first arenas that had a noise meter. Okay, and it used to be like a thing where the like a thermometer type thing would go up and there'd be a Kings logo at the top.
Yep.
And before that game, the Celtics were arguing and betting whether when Danny Ainge got announced, it would set the meter to the top. So they announced from Brigham Young, number 44, Danny Ainge. And all the Celtic players are looking and pointing in the corner at the old Arco Arena at this freaking noise meter. So, you know, the world was a little bit different back then.
Yes.
Did it make it? Did he reach the top?
Yes.
Okay.
Danny. You know, as Drapes knows, is you know, there's several reasons to dislike Danny Ainge. But yeah, it was, you know, that's the kind of stuff that was a big deal. I mean, it was, yeah. Anyway, but over the years, the change in you know, ownerships and all that. Hey, just the fact that the franchise is still there, right?
Yeah.
When it was gone, right? That, you know, the Kings were in Seattle for all intents and purposes until David Stern and Kevin Johnson got together and you know and worked things out like that. So, you know, but it's funny, the perception of an organization will follow along pretty closely with winning, right? So, you know, right now this is an up and coming team. When it crosses the next threshold, you know.
Fingers crossed, Steve. We're hoping. You know, you're out here in summer league. We get to see Bronny James up close and personal. 55th overall pick. I've maintained that, you know, being the son of LeBron James, people say, "Oh, he's here because of that." I argue that he's here in spite of that. Meaning, you know, like LeBron said, you know, he could, you know, go out and play video games or go do whatever he wants. The fact that he has the drive and determination. I know you've talked to several people about Bronny. What are you hearing about the young fella? I know he's had some struggles here in summer league so far.
Well, look, I think the whole Bronny James cause celeb is like, it's a social media thing, and excuse me, sports talk radio.
Sports talk radio, yeah.
Thank you.
Think about it. We're bringing them up here in Sacramento.
Like I can feel the heat coming off you just because you are a hot take machine.
I am.
Machine. But you know, number one, nepotism. The NBA. Look at every organization and the number of people that are, you know, that are sons of and JB Bickerstaff and all these people. You got to earn your way eventually.
Right.
But the key thing that I wrote about was that people trying to judge Bronny James on who he is, like right now, what he showed this past year. And as one prominent GM told me, hey, you know, he has the season start late because of the health issue, right? The cardiac incident. Clean bill of health, but he was on a dysfunctional team at SC, and you know, got started late. But if you look at his skill set, is he worth a guy that's a fair bet to develop? And a couple of guys I talked to say, he could have got picked well before that. They'd take him over a bunch of guys in the second round. But I think people didn't. Well, first of all, I think they were scared off by the idea that he's going to go to the Lakers,
right?
And that's what was being seemingly engineered. But there's also the thing of the circus. There are huge, a huge amount of attention around this guy, and maybe there were teams that didn't want to deal with that.
Right.
But as terms of a player, here's what I find weird: is that these teams will pick in the first round guys from Europe who they've seen play really limited against competition that do they know or not, and they'll take these guys really high. Is Bronny James certainly worth a 55th overall pick when you look at his physical skill set and take away last year? That's not a fair assessment of the guy. So that's the reasoning I got, but there are a bunch of GMs that just would keep away,
stay away from him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate your time, Steve. Before we let you go, I don't know if you've seen Kyle Draper play basketball. We're just wondering, if you got any inside dirt on him, if you have an NBA comp, what kind of player he's most like when he plays. But I don't know if you've actually seen him play much. Have you?
I've never seen him play. And one of my goals in life is to die without ever seeing Kyle Draper. So far,
cut the mic.
Good to have goals.
So far.
Good to have goals.
All right, you almost there, man. I might have to
What do you mean almost there?
I mean,
you think you're telling me my flight's not going to make it tonight?
No comment, man.
Wow.
I hope you have a long and lasting
something?
life, Steve.
If that flight lands up in Boston Harbor,
I'm
gonna be cursing your ass on the way down.
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm gonna be like, the last thing they hear on that plane is me screaming, "Draper!"
Like a Seinfeld episode or something. Appreciate it, Steve, man. Enjoy the day. You love Summer League, huh?
I love basketball.
Right.
It's funny, I'm talking to Shaq and all stuff. I was never a Celtic fan growing up. I was a basketball fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only team I root for is the University of Dayton Flyers.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Still paying off them student loans, huh? No.
They paid me.
They paid us. I like that.
Nice. Thank you, Steve. Yeah. When we come right back, we'll look at the 5 biggest free agents still available, still unsigned. Next with the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Powered